Hello and welcome to UK Versus. We're back with another installation of the Great Universus Bake Off. We have 3 brand new bakers and 2 amazing judges that have been able to step in last minute due to some unfortunate circumstances, but that doesn't mean we don't appreciate them being here any less. So for our bakers today, we have one of the best builders in the South, an amazing player in his own right, and someone who's blessed with amazing luck in Cohen. We have someone who literally puts heart into the game with Brandon, and Reese is also here.
Hell yeah!
They'll be building decks based around what our judges give them. So our first judge and current world champion, Kevin Broberg, will be giving them a character and asking them to build a deck with something to do with that character. Following on from that, Kai, the previous Bake Off winner, has come back as a judge in this, right, to give them a nondescript card. So it could be character, could be action, could be backup. We don't know what Kai has picked yet. And then the 2 remaining bakers will build around that card, and you will have a 30-minute timer to build those decks. We will come in and chat to you whilst you're building, and then at the end of that, you'll present your decks. We will ask questions, and then the judges will deliberate. And unfortunately, we will lose one of you in round 1. And then whoever wins overall gets 9 regional promos from Patriot Games for their prizing, because Sean has been great and has once again put in some regional promos for prizing. Is everybody ready?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's ready. I will hand the floor over to Kevin Broberg, who will tell you the character and will tell you what he wants from your decks. Take it away, Kevin.
Yeah, hello, bakers. I think I want to do something a little bit different than the pattern so far. There's a character that grates me, that irritates me when I play against him and when I see him around the metagame. He feels ostentatious to me. He feels like he's obviously playing all of the fundamentals of Universus usually very well. It's very by-the-books deck. But when you play the game, you're playing his game, and you're not playing a game of gambling and chance. You're playing a game of, well, how many cards is he drawing, how many block stands is he covering, and am I even allowed to defend this attack, or do I have to wait until the scary one that's coming later? I have a beef with Rodan, Giant Monster of the Sky. Even after receiving a nerf, he's still been successful in the UK, the regional recently. And I want you, bakers, to show your countrymen how it's done. I want you to build a deck that destroys Rodan.
So there you have it, bakers. So we're not looking for you to build a Rodan deck. We're looking for you to build a deck that can beat Rodan. Take away your creativity, take away your inspiration, and show Kevin Broberg how you handle the character that irks him the most. Best of luck. So, Kevin, what are you looking for in an anti-Rodan deck?
The biggest thing is just have a plan to win the game, ultimately. Rodan is going to spam a lot of speed reduction. He can often play vertical maneuvering equipment to cover his zones. He's going to draw a lot of cards, and he's going to play a lot of just fundamentally sound universe. So you need some way to get a pointy stick that can poke him, or some game plan that can, maybe mono throws might be an approach someone could take to say, well, maybe you're playing copies of Dimension Sphere or Mikasa defeats the Titan, but you have a finite number of those, and I'm just going to keep chipping you out these throws over and over, turn after turn, until the game ends some way. That way, just some kind of game plan, ultimately. Maybe Mildex would be an approach, because Rodan does remove his own cards from the game to play as enhanced, so that's a resource that you eventually will run out of.
Makes a lot of sense. What traps should they avoid? What decks, what characters, what cards are you looking at and going, that's an immediate pitfall that you've got into?
The biggest thing I'd be worried about is just people building decks that are too sort of passive, or maybe just do basic fundamentals of their own without getting to some clear strategic vision of how they're trying to win the game against a character like Rodan. I guess actually like the Reiner deck that got top 4 at the regional actually did beat a Rodan, but I feel like it didn't convincingly necessarily. Maybe a Rodan that itself was kind of tuned to play these long games and win these long games. I think that might be one of the things I'd be concerned to see in one of the Baker's decks.
That makes a lot of sense. And Kai, what do you look for in a deck that can take down Rodan?
I want to see at least some individuality. I don't want to just see the common Devil Jins, Godzillas, and Gs. I want to have individuality in the decks and have a solid game plan on how to defeat Rodan. Not just...
Yeah, I think it
needs to be consistent.
Yeah.
It needs to also be consistent at defeating Rodan, not just get lucky, win games. It has to be straightforward and consistent.
not a deck that can do, oh, I'm just going to turn to you regardless. A deck that kind of goes, I have a game plan specifically for Rodan.
Yeah, I think it's a really great answer, just because, yeah, as you said, technically a answer to this could be, you know, I'm going to play my card against Ymir. Here's my card against Ymir deck I cooked up for you. It's just his deck, but clearly it won the regional, so it must have a fine. I mean, I think that's actually not a wrong answer. I think that deck probably has a fine Rodan matchup. It is kind of answering the question of, well, it's kind of solving the problem of, well, if he's going to block 5 times, how do I win that game? And well, Ymir has that covered, actually. She can get that job done. She's got the scaling damage where Rodan has to block 6 times and potentially on a lot of speed, you know, even enough speed that he's struggling with it. That's not quite cooking up a novel answer for this. And I think that another way that the makers could take this is that if you're building a deck that's freed from every other constraint of the metagame, if you don't have to worry about your own Devil Jin matchup, you don't have to worry about your matchup against Ymir or against anything else in the format, well, what does that now free you to do? Is there a alternate win condition you might be able to pursue? Because a lot of Rodans aren't doing a lot of, not necessarily the most proactive themselves. You can just contest, you know, like Ascend for Battle we saw from the Rodan that won the Denver regional. What are you free to do with that extra time that you get to play when you're playing against Rodan?
All right, let's head over to table 1.
Currently, I'm doing Order Mitchell Chimino. I think this might be the way. I think the whole premise of just stun them out, like, because Order has a lot of breakers, right? So you can stun them out on their turn using like Edun box to like reset after we do the speed bonus, breaker them, and then stun them out ready for your turn. And then on your turn, stun them the rest of the way. So you're either guaranteeing your hits, or you've definitely got a better chance, right?
Is there any cards that we don't normally see in Mitchell lists that you're adding?
I couldn't tell you because I only know Overhaul. I don't know any other deck, right?
Why don't you build Overhaul?
Because Overhaul's really bad into Rodan after I now know this after doing all of my regional testing.
I'm excited to see what you cook up. I think that Mitchell seems like a fine direction, and definitely he gets to generate a resource regardless of how Rodan's defending himself every turn. That's real nice to have.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Definitely very interesting choice. I'm very interested to see how the deck fully forms. But from what the sounds of it, you've got in with an initial plan and you're going to follow in.
I think this is just the correct way, because if you can't like hurt Rodan on their turn and you're just trying to uphill battle on your turn, then there's a good chance it won't go so well.
Well, we'll leave you to it and we'll head over to table 2 to see what Brandon's doing.
How's the deck build go? Do you have a direction?
Oh god, so I'm effectively looking to do Rodan to Rodan, and so what I'm doing, I've called it Rodan. I'm going with Yasha, Orphan Maker. Feel like if I can stack enough rage from the times where they do get through, I can apply the damage real high. So I'm looking to basically remove everything from their grave, dive into Rodan here, like stun them a load, hit them a lot with the rage damage, and I've tried to split the block mod as much as possible. Grog's Rage is going to be both a 0 block mod, and if it has the half block from the high block, that 0 block modifier is going to come in clutch. I know they try to run the VMEs a lot, so I'm going to bring in some more asset removal. We're probably going to look at more things like collateral damage to destroy rival assets, get rid of those VMEs when they become troublesome. We're just going to try and just beat the living crap out of it and tear cards out of its discard and hand as much as possible, so it's losing resources left, right, and center. Just going over some death foundations now as well, just to try and see.
For this, do you consider it sort of a mill game plan to mill and remove all their attacks?
No, I'm not going to be the one doing the milling. I'm going to be letting them do what they want to do, but when they do it, taking away the resource. Because obviously they get the top deck manipulation, but I'm hoping before it becomes relevant enough that I'm going to kill them by that time. Like, I'm hoping turn 3 I can get this game over and done with. So their speed manipulation and top deck manipulation is where the main strength of the deck lies for me. So I'm trying to just bully them a little bit. Yeah, stop them having a resource option in the remove pile.
It's telling a good story so far, and I think I'm excited to see where you wind up with this.
Yeah, wicked, man. I'm hoping we can make it as much as possible.
All right, let's head over to table 3 and see what's going on over here.
I'm currently playing a 90% Fogog. The only non-foe at the moment is currently Lethal Slash. I would be further ahead, but I kind of had a back-ago idea where I make you discard all the cards, and then I realised that probably isn't going to work because of how many he can hold. He can block anything to an extent. When I've played against him, he struggles to not block any kind of cards. So I thought the best way to get rid of a low health character who can block a lot is to just throw a lot of foes at them. And I think that's kind of my plan for this goal. Build in some nice foundations. One of the main ones I'm thinking of already is the one that lets me seal this one. So I can seal their main pieces, as he doesn't really need, maybe 3, because he doesn't need as many pieces in his deck. So what I think of it is big foes, all getting +3 damage. I'm also constantly going to have counters because of the foes. They allow me to always have counters. And just a good amount of, hopefully, damage reduction, seeing what I can find.
What happens if you run into cards like Casa defeats Female Titan and Dimensional Sphere?
Use this to seal it. I'm maybe 1 or 2 attacks later on to seal it. It's kind of the plan. Just kind of disable their defensive pieces, but also have kind of an attack basis of foes. That's kind of what I've learned from playing it over time. And
Yeah, have you had much experience with the Grog versus Rodan matchup in practice?
I played against a lot of Gorg, with and without foes, and I have played a few of those matches when I've been Rodan, and Gorg foes always the hardest me to play out of my games.
Yeah, it makes a lot of
I don't
sense.
know, though.
I think it's a clear story anyway, for sure. Yeah, like he has a finite health pool and we're just gonna out. I like it.
Yeah, drawing on personal
Just
experience as well.
Yeah, blame my dad.
But we'll leave you to it. There's just over 15
Thank you
minutes
very
left.
much.
So we'll catch you when you finish baking.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, interesting. So I'm a little surprised that we have 2 rage counter characters, but it's
I
interesting
knew-
we got the full spread of 3 distinct characters and really 3 distinct game plans, honestly.
I knew I'd see the Grog, but I wasn't expecting the Yasha mill game plan. Remove all their resources and their attacks.
So when you came up with the challenge, Broberg, are these the kind of decks you were expecting to show up?
I don't know, they're not outside the range. Yeah, I think definitely Throws Grog makes a lot of sense. Scaling plus X damage from Yasha makes a lot of sense, and Mitchell as sort of a I'm gonna sidestep. Like I kind of ultimately I think Mitchell is a character who is indifferent to getting blocked a lot. I think, right? Like he's gonna say, I'm gonna attack you, I'm gonna stun you, whether you block or not. You're still on those foundations, and kind of very naturally tells the story of I'm gonna create an opening, and then I'm going to drive a big powerful truck through that opening. And so I think that's yeah, 3 good answers to it's 3 good answers that are all kind of distinct answers. So that's really exciting. That's fun that the bakers all settled on different angles to attack from.
With the Grog, I saw he wasn't running any Attack Titan Saymaker or Besiege, and he decided to run Lethal Slash over those 2. And as playing Rodan quite a few times, I've ran into a bunch of problems against cards like Besiege, especially with the loss of combined firepower. You can't just easily chain block for free with combined, and cards like Attack Titan's Haymaker and Besiege really hurt, especially when it comes to the Rodan mirror matchup.
Yeah, I'm a little worried that Yasha is going to end up too sort of scatterbrained to really make sense as a cohesive unit, right? Play cards like Deception Dagger, make it sound like we're almost trying to build a Rodan deck, and he was clear that that was not his game plan, and he's sort of trying to, I guess, attack the speed, get sideways, take out a +4 block from the top of his discard pile and leave him with like a +2 or a +3. Ideally, I think is the idea. Sort of it feels very marginal to me. It feels like not a huge difference at the fundamentals level. And if he's trying to like attack on 4 fronts at the same time, he's going to end up being kind of medium at all of them.
So just looking at the characters, we don't quite know what's in the deck yet, but out of the 3 characters, which one would you pick to take on Rodan?
I think Grog tells the clearest story to me. It almost kind of is attacking Rodan from both angles, right? He says, I have a story to tell you on offense that I'm going to throw you 12, 15 times or whatever it takes to win the game that way. And then he has a story on defense, right? He says, listen, you're going to have 10 speed attacks, and I don't care. I'm going to block with my face, and I'm going to do that very well. I'm going to take less damage than normal characters do when I block with my face. I'm not 100% confident in that game plan, but it is a clear game plan. And I think that's really what I'm here for. And even sounded like he was informed by his experience in the matchups of, well, what's Rodan hate playing against? Well, this was a thing that I've struggled playing against myself. So
I agree with that, but I also think Mitchell, on paper, a good matchup into Rodan, with the fact that he can just pump enough speed and stun to knock out their board, and then he can even get to a point where he might be able to one-shot Rodan, but that's quite difficult. With cards like Quenma's Task and VME, VME can kind of help it so you can actually block Rodan's attacks. And Quenma's Task You can remove all their key pieces and their kill conditions, such as super tactics.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, Kai, so you said that one of your criteria is sort of originality. And we've seen a bunch of Mitchell Cimino decks that have been very successful recently in the tournament scene. So where I think Yasha is definitely very much an outsider on that front, and Grog hasn't seen, I don't think, a ton of success. He's been kind of had some murmurs. People are excited about him, but he hasn't put up results yet. Do you think that is that something you're looking out for? Is this a derivative Mitchell deck? Is this kind of like every other Mitchell deck we've seen, or do you think that?
yeah. That's why I was asking him, see what kind of cards separate this list from other Mitchell lists. And I think Yasha's definitely the most individual one out of the three. Mitchell's deck could be individual to the point where it's the same character, same game plan, but you're running more pieces to stop Rodan, since you don't have to worry about Devil Jin and Nick.
Yeah, it's been interesting sort of seeing how Mitchell's character has played out in the wild. I think the MGLA team coming up with a very innovative, very creative out there approach to him that's now sort of seeped into the mainstream consciousness and is now basically a stock deck at this point. He's incredibly open-ended. I've been off and on building various iterations of, like good symbol stuff with Fajin and Canister Creation Strike. Oh, certainly Order and Chaos deck. Like, I think there's a good chat about Chaos decks is like, oh, this is basically Toga, right? Yeah, I think Coin was Task. It's definitely a very good piece of technology, and if he truly hasn't just been paying attention to the tournament results, hasn't seen any Mitchell decks, then it'd be a great one to find on your own. Today we're talking about Rodan.
We are talking about Rodan. There's 10 seconds left on this round. It's flown by. Thanks for the chat, guys, and I'm really interested to see what everyone has built. Welcome back, Bakers. That is time on the build, and I hope to see that you guys have been able to avoid any soggy bottoms and your decks are fully cooked.
Yeah, something like that.
I hope you guys have used your time wisely, and the big question is, who do we want to see first?
I volunteer Reese's tribute.
Reese, you're up.
Yeah, Reese.
Reese bit as an order Mitchell Cimino, so Reese, talk us through the deck.
I don't like Rodan. Rodan stinks. I hate his foundations.
Agreed.
I hate him, and all of his foundations are always ready on my turn. I don't like that. I'm gonna either commit him on his turn, I'll fight him on his own turn, or if I don't do that, he's not having any stud foundations on my turn, and I will land some damage. For the actions, we got some Genkais because I don't want to die, right? If he's got an issue, that's gonna kill me. I don't want that. They go bye-bye. We got some Historias because point and click any issue foundations I couldn't deal with on his turn with Breaker. Or anything he builds, right? It's just a good card. Showdown, I don't suspect I'm going to be able to block him if he can buff his own speed that much. So if he's got a Genkais for me, I'm just going to say no to it, right? Vertigo, it's like the best card in the whole deck if that's not called Mitchell Cimino. Yay, speed, right? Edun Box is like, cool. I can use it proactively on my turn, on his turn, make things easier to block, make things harder to block for him. From his own face, right? Ichigaki, I thought this was pretty cool because all of his attacks are usually quite annoying. You can cancel, if he's playing like Titan cards, you can just stop him from doing Titan things. If he does a Titan Cliff, you can just say no to it. If he's got stuff like Rejuve or his own Animus Shot, no thank you. Yeah, the attacks are pretty cool, right? You've got the Animus Shot because it says Breaker mainly. It's a low block, it's cheap. If you can make it quick enough they can't block it, cool. You rip one from the hand, that's always nice, right? The Heaven Pierce Nice Wall, this is like the MVP of the deck because this just says your opponent cannot. Same with Big Fist Bash, it says Breaker 3 on face. It's really nice. And you get to pick this up, which we'll see later on. Uga Killer is awesome because other than the fact it has Stun 1 printed, meaning it'll be Stun 2 with Mage, you get to flip any of your foundations which aren't going to do much for the rest of the game to make them commit one, and you also flip one of your assets. So if they've got a vertical or any other thing, like a tattered costume maybe, it goes bye-bye. It's nice, right? Vial, it's a good order card. It says Breaker. You can stack them with some of the other foundations so you know it's going to pass. Look at Animus, that's got another 4. It gets big, it gets quick. Water Dog, it's just, again, stable. Got a lot of keywords. Powerful 4 or Stun 2 with Mitch. Nice. Foundations, yeah, it's some pretty standard stuff, right? Foresight, you're finished. This is really good for the deadlock if you play a longer game. Keep committing it. Inspiring Song, it's a 6 check. You get the mill 3, so you get to cycle through the deck a bit more. Then either you can buff your own check or you can neg their next check. House of Cards is nice. Yeah, you can obviously stack their checks, meaning we haven't got a amount to spend for VME. You can form like a good big neg speed on the top of the deck, so we can't neg it so much, which is always cushy. Magical Arm is if you've got cards that say Breakout, or you know for a fact you need to block this turn, otherwise you die. Thoughtful Classmate is because you're playing like 12, 13 mid attacks, so you can pick up your Pally Swallows, you can pick up your Big Fist Bashes, you can pick up your Ogre Kills again. Yeah, Master Drunken Fighter, you get them commit. If you have 4 of these on board, you commit 4 on their turn, and then you commit 4 on your turn. Drowning and Resentment is really nice. The fact it's tenacious means you get a commit for make sure a 2 speed. You can flip this because all your stuff's pretty much done. You can commit again for 2 damage. Rule Stickler I thought was nice if they're on Titan Cliff because obviously they're going to be building through its enhance. New number 1, again it's a bit like Edon Box, you get the reset on the speed and then it gives it a speed, which is always nice.
I like it. So one question I have, all the attacks I think are 3-ofs in here. Kind of tell me about that.
I know Earth cards. I don't play any symbol that's not Earth, so I don't really know. This just seemed quite comfortable, where on a 16, 70 card average, if you're playing 3-ofs, there's a good chance you're not overseeing them, right? And you get to see a widespread. The numbers might be wrong, but that's just a look-see from me.
Okay, that makes sense.
With cards like Patrick Beatty and Walk the Dog, what are your thoughts on not having them as 4-ofs?
Because if you're only seeing the Patchwork or the Walk the Dog, it kind of stinks. Because Walk the Dog, you don't want to immediately play it. Because if they're still quite ready on the going into your turn, there's a good chance you're playing this on a 7 or 8. So it doesn't feel good. So you want to be playing this like after like 1 or 2 attacks where you've committed say 2 to 3, right? Patchwork Baby's like kind of the same. You're not guaranteeing itself. The most you're going to be doing is +3 speed with itself, which, yeah, it's nice, but you're not capitalizing on this as much as you could be. If you play it as a first card, it's not as great as playing it as a second card. Yeah.
Question from the Peanut Gallery. Why did you settle on 70 cards, like 21 attacks and 49 non-attacks?
Because I think if you're playing against Radahn and you can't kill them quickly, you have to play like a slightly slower game. So you're wanting a bit of your whole variety, right? Because you need to last. There's a good chance you can deck them out if you're making the block and go through all the checks. This felt like a good number. There was nothing I much wanted to change. I could have been playing an extra attack or 2, but I was trying to keep it to 30 non-foundations as I could, as that balances numbers from my own experience.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks for sharing. I think you did a good job.
Did you give the deck a name?
Nah, it's just Bake Off. I couldn't think of a funny name.
Fair enough. We'll move down the table now. And Brandon, let's see where you ended up with Yasha.
Yeah, so I've gone with calling the deck Rodam. Because, yeah, it's a world where Rodam is the only enemy, and it should be for everyone anyway. Yasha, I've gone with because rage equals fun stuff. And the chicken is making us all rage, so why not make it thematic, right? So the first enhance on Yasha, it gets more damage. It's a 7-hander, 21 life. We're going to look to try and beat this chicken into the ground as quickly as possible. And we also don't want it to have resources, so I can get rid of a bunch of the counters to remove 2 cards from their hand. I'm going to look to go super aggro, get these rage counters on as quickly as possible. And on my kill turn, hopefully turn 3, maybe even earlier on turn 2, look to beat this chicken into the ground or remove anything it can block with or try to stop me with as quickly as possible. With the actions and assets, I've started with Strange Energies. So we've got 2 of these. The reason being is there's a lot of stuff in the Blitz with like Violent Animus Shot where it's going to make things a Blitz. Or there's the Center Battle, I think, where it stacks the combo from the printed speed to make its damage. We can maybe stop that. And making it check against the 7 means they're probably going to have to commit some foundations down, making them defensively weaker or slowing their combos down for their own attack. Strange Energies was there for that. I would like to Rage is basically there to give the powerful 3. It's non-progressive, and I get to draw a card, so it's an extra card. Nox Flask is to do Nox Flask things, you know, lower damage, mill stuff to make my deck a little thinner. 71 card deck, sometimes we are going to want to get through things quicker. I don't know why I clicked on Gog Brains there, didn't mean to do that. My attack package is Fury weapon base, mainly looking to rip everything out of their discard pile before they get to use it. A lot of Rodan's responses on foundations, like Super Flight is like response when it's removed as a cost from itself. Burn stuff like that off. They've also got sweeping daggers, so if they get rid of their sweeping daggers into discard by checking them, we can rip those out, maybe even rip 2 or 3 out in one go. Rip apart, we've got a lot of Furies in here. Only one doesn't hit the Fury, which is the Deception Dagger, but we're going to try and make it throw, give it the powerful off of I would like to rage, and then just make that chicken get freaking yeeted into the mountain. Grog's Rage. So Grog's Rage is a 2 check. I didn't want to hit 4 out of this because I wanted a little less consistency out of checking that 2. But I do like what Grog's Rage does against it. So it's a 0 block modifier that I can use to half block some of the high attacks. The high attack is hopefully going to hit me for at least 3 damage and allow my Yasha to get a rage counter. I can then use those rage counters for other means later on. And it's also got a 6 high 6. So it's pretty tasty. And then my favorite attack is going to be Orphan Maker's Fury because it's going to get extra speed, which I'm going to need because of the defensive capabilities and speed reduction in Rodan. But then I've also got, if they block Orphan Maker, they're still likely going to take some damage because of the, after they block it, they lose X health, X5 minus the block modifier. Average block modifier in the deck is like 2 or 3. So it's likely to hit 2 or 3 damage through, even if it's blocked, similar to a throw. My foundation package, so Botan's coaching is an instant include. Syndicate target, I lose a health here. I'm not really too bothered, but the 6 control, really good. It's a 0 diff, helps me get foundations on the board to get things through. Really good card. Stoic Enmity, again, I don't think it's brilliant. The block mod's pretty high, but it's a 6 control check. It's a 1 drop. It's going to get me rage counters. All just sits in there pretty nicely. Nimble Thief, I'm going to make them mill. They may want to mill, but as I say, the block mods are averaging like 2 or 3. So I'm going to give them minus 2 or 3 speed. Try and slow their speed amp down. Try and keep them within range for me to be able to block with some of these low block modifiers that are like 0s, 2s, 1s. And hopefully even in circumstances where I want to, just take the half block, take that 3 damage, get that rage counter. Collateral damage is there to remove the VMEs. The VMEs are probably one of the strongest ways Rodan has to ensure attacks get through or can be blocked for them by moving the block zone or moving the attack zone, whatever. Be eaten by the Bearded Titans the way of me chipping away at their speed. Since the past, it adds my resource removal, where I'm just strip everything they get into that discard that they want to use away from them before they can use it. Cycle of Violence. If it enters the discard pile during the enhanced step, I add 1 card from the discard pile to the bottom of the deck. This is more just a low block modifier for me. And on the odd circumstance where they do get me to get rid of this, or I get rid of this myself, I can restat my deck a little bit, get it back in. Joining the fight, again, if I get an attack deals damage, I can remove a card from a rival's discard, use that in combination with the throw attack. Once the throw goes through, having a great time. The one that's super scary, where they make the speed ridiculous 9 or something like that, I can reduce it by 5.
How do you feel about running 7 3-diffs? 3-diff foundations when you're running 3-2 check?
I'm not too bothered. I think the percentages with there being 7 of the 3s to only the 3 2s in the 71 card deck will become relevant because you've also got to look at it as I've got 8 6 controls, right? So the 8 6 controls are arguably more than the 3 2 controls. I'm twice as likely to check a 6 on those 3s then. And sometimes it's a risky take, right? Like if I check that 2, I check that 2. Like sometimes it happens. I'm hoping it won't.
Yeah, so I was wondering, my understanding out here, right, is that she triggers when you take damage from your opponent, right? So you build up those rage counters that way. I think Grog's Rage adds a rage counter, and a handful of the foundations in this deck did. So my model of Rodan is that he's kind of like the Ur control deck, right? He'll only attack when it's his, when he's good and ready.
I think Broberg's saying something along the lines of, how are you planning on taking a Rodan's attack turn when a Rodan's attack turn is with killing intent?
Sure. So if they're not going for killing intent, when they do the control, right, I've got Unrelenting Brute, so that will allow me to flip, re-up my damage, give me the counters, and if they're trying to play scared and my damage isn't hitting or landing, they're going to have to be interacting with me. But as long as I can get maybe something through, things like Unyielding Rage will allow me to, when I spend the momentum, also get rage counters. So like Grog's Rage will give me rage counters as well. Do you know what I mean? Like there's also, I would like to rage, that will give me a rage counter. Like there's enough. So there's 15 instances where I can get rage counters without Rodan ever needing to attack. And if they're not trying to attack me at all, they're probably going to die pretty quick, I think. So even without the rage counters, I think my Rip Apart, that's a 6 damage off the bat. If I can give it powerful, give it 3, make it 9 damage. Even that as a throw to a 21 health character is pretty scary. So unless they're getting cards on every attack.
Makes sense. Thanks for sharing. I like a lot of the little touches to torture Rodan and make him not get access to the cards he wants to be trying to play with.
Thanks for sharing your deck. Let's take a look at Cohen.
Okay, so I built a like 90% foe Gorg. I'm playing 2 non-foes. One of them becomes a foe most of the time. It's called Catch This or Fog for foe Gorg. My main sort of attack package when I was going through seemed to be kind of the close combat tackle. It's a cheap, nice and easy one. Stuns down their capes, any capes, any vertical maneuvering gears, kind of just their main kind of assets was what I was thinking of. Then I also went for flying takedown. With them having a lot of high block more cards because they need to remove them, it also kind of works. So I should be getting 2 or 3 minimum on this, making it with Gorg normally a 10 damage foe at least. So I think it's quite nice for 5 diff. I also play Destructive Slam for 5, just nice, easy. Give it 3 damage, guaranteed 4 health. They don't want to. If they don't want to, if they want to take it for some reason, they're just going to destroy one. I mean, I think they're going to block it, but when they don't, it's just a nice touch. Have Gargantuan Grapple, either breakers to make them not be able to play as many attacks. So I'm always going to have momentum because of the foes. So I know I can breaker them on their turn. On my turn, I can stun them, kind of get them down. Only issue with this is that it's a 4 damage move, which kind of only does 4 damage with Gorg. But I mean, it's the same as this one, and it's cheaper, so it ends up working just as well. Aura Slam, once again, just gets nice and big, guaranteed 4 damage. And if you do want to take the 4 damage, you're also giving me more cards to block. So I can build, so that's my main kind of 500 problem, trying to make sure you have enough built and drawing these attacks. Kind of where I've gone for the deck. Then obviously have probably my favorite card, Lethal Slash. Blitz, draw a card, just gets to replace it in my hand. I'm drawing 2 on it with Gorg, so I gain a card if I play this. The 2 check, I'd say it's risky, but it's probably worth it in most scenarios. My last attack, I've got 2 Fury attacks, so the only issue is that. But I mean, if it's a foe, I don't really care if you're blocked, so I try and always play it when I have the counters. Playing 6 0 diffs, because I don't really think there's too much need for more in my mind. Got Warm and Bubbly, just when you hit me, I'm going to reduce the damage by more, and just more of a damage reduction. It's kind of my 0 diff. Just Skeptical, as you'll notice, a lot of the cards in this deck will have flip costs, just allowing me to play more attacks, ready more stuff, get more damage off. So Skeptical just lets me ready more, just lets me play more attacks. Fearsome Transformations, just heavy draw power. I should always, past turn 1, I should always have momentum. So we had to get a lot more of these off, play a lot more kind of attacks, as long as I don't check bad. We got Ferocious Attacker, more draw power. Tap target, once again, I'll play 3 attacks, I'll ready these, I'll then get to play another one. That often might be the kill. That should allow me to input about 16 damage a turn. Pull from Danger, I think it's just an always Gog card. Like, if you're playing Gog, you play it. If they do want to build a Jillian, I'll get stunned too. If they don't, I'm getting 3 damage on minus 3 damage on an attack. This allows me to really, with Gog, get -5, and as the most of their attacks are 6, 7 damage, I'm taking 1 or 2. Into the 2 deaths, we got What's the Symbol? It's just kind of like most people would play the flip one, where it's like once per turn flip foundation. Can't remember what that's called now. Most people play that kind of over, but this gives me so pretty much free to an extent, unless I'm going into a super long game. And it's plus or minus, which allows some of these foes to get even bigger than they once were. Toughest Pumpkin Junior High just allows me to take 0 damage from an attack. Because while it's also the -3, you can also do things around it to do other stuff. You usually find other ways around it, because it's like, oh, I'm going to -2, then I'm going to -3. So incompetency, everything just actually takes 0 damage on an attack. Dragon's Fortitude, once again, just very easy, getting lots of momentum from my foes, need somewhere to spend it. This was kind of my main thought, Dragon's Fortitude, 3 minus damage constantly. Split Body Control, once again, just like, also, I actually skipped this, so back to Tranquility of Death quickly. Tranquility of Death, once again, with Split Body Control, was kind of there to get rid of their Mikasa's, Mikasa, or whatever it's called, the one that flips.
Yeah.
Also gets rid of their Nonagons, or just their big cards I have to get rid of. Got kind of 2, allow me to hopefully get them on board. Titanic Combat, working with Aura Slam to give me those 3 face downs throughout the game. Also allows me to get damage pumping on the kill foe. 2 free deaths are sacrificing the cause, because if I'm drawing a lot, I'm gonna have a lot of foundations, and like I don't want to clog my hand, and B, who doesn't want free damage, especially when my block mods are like at an average of 3. Because Gog does not block, is what I've learned. Also, if you want to try and find a reset for my damage, I just say no. Oval, very lovely card. And then Unyielding Rage, so 1 low block, has Breaker 1, there for the 1 or 2 blocks that I might get. stops many cards. Also, readies it, more readying, more attacks being played per turn. And if I do spend the momentum for either Dragon's Fortitude or any of the attacks, I can just get 3 Rage counters. The one reason in here that you'll see card missing is Gog's Rage. I kind of realized, I think because you're playing foes, I will need less counters because I'm constantly getting the counters back. So in my mind, I was like, oh, I don't want it for the counters, so do I want it for the powerful? But I've only got 2, I think if I check, I think I have 2 Fury attacks in here. Because kind of you don't need Fury for him. So I thought, well, let's leave it out because it's just clogging a card in my hand. That's it.
Nice deck. I'm surprised to see Lethal Slash next to the throws. Tell me a little more about that. It's just a fan card.
Into lower health characters, Fogel works. And the other thing is there's not actually that many foes on Earth, and you want to be playing Earth for quite a few of these cards. So while yes, also I could technically just up like some of these cards to make it just a foe deck. Lethal Slash is like, it's basically a free card as long as you don't check bad. But with my luck, it'll be fine. And most people's luck. If you get a bit lucky, I think into the Rodan map sometimes you do as well. Like, I think, like, even if the skill diff's there, this is just like, oh, I'm gonna play this, I'm gonna draw 2, and I don't need to go, and I gog it, and then if you are taking it, that's wasting a card, and I'm getting it back for free. It's just a nice card, basically. In my mind, it's an almost free attack, other than the attack that's a 2 check.
I'm surprised you're not running Besiege or Attack Titan's Haymaker, because as playing Rodan a couple of times, Besiege and Attack Titan's Haymaker, key pieces against the Rodan matchups, which really hurts, especially if with Besiege they're not holding a +3 mid block, as it's technically a throw at that point if they don't have a +3 mid block. If they don't have a +3 block at all, it's just 7 damage.
My reason behind that was, so it was in here originally at one point, but I kind of was thinking about it. And Rodan, obviously because Rodan needs the block mods, they quite often when I've been playing them, especially into these fire decks, will hold that 3 mid block waiting for it. With open deck list now, especially, when I'm going to someone at a table and they look at my deck and they see Besiege, that's one of the key cards they'd look for. Then you see Besiege and you're holding 5 cards in hand, you're at least holding a free block if it's not a free mid. They can reduce the speed really easily. So I've kind of preferred to, and also it just didn't fit the way I wanted to play this deck, basically.
So Unyielding Rage, I think that makes a little sense as a foundation that untaps itself, but I'm a little surprised. I think I count like literally 5 cards that say spend 1 momentum in this deck.
That is kind of my mind, but I was just kind of like, this is kind of here. The first idea was to ready, and then it's like the spending momentum's a bonus, right? Because also in a kind of a longer game, that's the reason, like, I won't get this every game, and then the games I get it might be a longer game where I have this down, and it's just bonuses is kind of the way I thought about it. Like, it's not, the main point of the card is there for the ready and the 1 low breaker block. It's kind of the main kind of focus of the card.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I think for me, I think nice job with this. I think this tells, I think, almost the clearest story of any of the decks we've seen today is it's Grog, and Grog makes Rodan mad. So I like that.
Judges definitely got a big task ahead of you. We'll head over to the judges table and we'll find out, unfortunately, which one of you will not be progressing to round 2. Right, so 3 solid choices, 3 solid builds. Where would you like to start your discussion?
Grog is definitely advancing in my book. I think that he is definitely going to the next round. I think he did the best job of these 3. I think the other 2 for me are kind of in jeopardy. I'm not sure where I'm feeling, who I want to send home right now from those 2.
Yeah, so I agree with Brobug here. I think Grog is definitely a straightforward choice for the next round. Mitchell is definitely, I think, will deal better into Rodan, but I think I like the Yasha due to its individuality, so it's just going to be a hard choice between those 2.
Yeah, I really liked Yasha. Had a lot of, it had a number of good ideas. I thought, like, I really liked the foundation that mills them. Like, that's really charming. Where if they don't immediately, like, a lot of times Rodan will try to do like a Titan cliff. He'll try to do some discard effect to put the card he wants on top of his discard pile, and then you say, well, haha, no, you don't. I'm going to make you mill, and whatever you get off that mill, well, you'll get minus that much speed, and you'll probably just have to Rodan enhance, remove it, and you'll effectively not have it enhanced with its attack. That's really cute. That's delightful to me. I like the presence of the asset hate, but at the same time, like, the story of the deck was, I'm going to just be fast. I'm going to be turbo fast. I just don't believe him. I don't think that's going to be effective. I don't think that's going to work. And one of the cards he included that I thought was, on the surface, I thought was exciting was he included the asset. The card says, when your weapon deals damage, destroy an asset. But as an answer to VME or Cape of No Return, like, Rodan just blocks. That's the whole story. Your attacks don't deal damage. That's the problem. And the deck didn't have, I thought, any kind of tools to make a good attack hand. It was saying, I'm a 6-hand size character. I'm going to draw enough attacks off the top. And it wasn't telling me a story that I thought would work against Rodan. It says, I'm going to be fast. And there are faster decks than this. There are decks that are more coherently fast that don't need to scale up with this rage counter stuff. And those decks don't have great matchups into Rodan. Like the fastest deck in the room at Denver was Caden's I'm going to kill you on turn 2 Hanji deck. And he lost to Rodan. I'm just not sure I'm buying the story.
With the Yasha as well, the game plan of drawing a lot of attacks is going to be hard in a 70 card list running 19 attacks.
That's a great point. Yeah, I didn't even kind of analyze that angle of it. Yeah.
The Grub was running 5 3-deaths, but the problem with I think it's Unyielding Rage, the 3-death one. I don't think that card is worth it, and I feel like you'd be better off just adding in extra copies of Sacrifice for the cause.
For me, I don't hold the kind of that mismatch of control checks to difficulties against the builders, the bakers at all. Just because ultimately the thesis right here, right, is that we're building anti-Rodan decks. Rodan gives you a couple turns, and so even if you draw it on turn 1 and you say, well, I'm not allowed to play this right now, I can't, I might check the 2, I might fail my turn. Well, let's play it later. Separately, I think that card was kind of low impact and kind of didn't make a lot of sense necessarily in the deck. But the fact that it was high difficulty wasn't really a penalty for me. And actually, I guess that segues into one of my thoughts on the Mitchell deck, was that it was playing a ton of these breaker cards. It was playing Showdown. It was playing like Vile Seizing and stuff. And yeah, Vile Seizing is a fine card. You can have different opinion on that, I guess. It is a deadlock card that is good in the matchup, but kind of Big Fist Bash, like low block. Most Rodan aren't playing low attacks, I don't think, specifically for that Rodan matchup. And I guess I could have said, build this thing exclusively to fight Rodan. Maybe that would have gotten the players on the right wavelength a little more, maybe. But I almost want to penalize that. Well, I guess penalize the breaker cards, right? Like, we're excited to play these breaker cards, but they kind of don't matter in the matchup. And I was kind of hoping for more pointed offense or effective defense. And I like that the Mitchell deck did have a theory on defense, right? We're going to play these forceful negotiators. We're going to stun them out and make him really suffer to ever send a poke. But then, adding breaker on top of that, I think is not an effective angle to attack, I think.
Yeah.
I really like the inclusion of the Kendo card that allows you to pick from a mid attack. So after you've done your Big Fist Bash, you can pick it back up, break a 3 on defense, or you can just use it for more offense on turn.
Yeah, and that was one thing I was hoping to see in everyone's decks, and I think Thoughtful Classmate was about as close as we got, was kind of just a card that said, enhance commit, enhance destroy, whatever, put an attack in your hand. Because against Rodan, a lot of times you'll have a lot of time. You want, having a card that lets you put a card in play, and then on the next turn, on the kill turn, it might take 5 or 6 attacks to finish the game, unless you have a mono throw strategy, which is an acceptable answer too. But if it takes 6 attacks to finish the game, and you have a 6 hand size, it's almost impossible to top deck 6 attacks all at once. And having cards I was looking for cards like Latent Skill is a great a card that can assemble the big kill turn. Even better is something like Grish's Attack Titan that says add an attack to your hand. Prelude of Destruction, after you check an attack, add it to your hand. Thoughtful Classmate and Mitchell's response, after you spend momentum, set aside, put it in your hand later. Those both kind of achieve that goal, right? Those put attacks in your hand later.
You can spend the game defending and sculpting your hand until you get the perfect hand, where your rival just kind of over commits themselves, thinking they could kill you, and then you just kill them on the clap back.
I'm kind of making up my mind on what my vote is here.
Would you like to tell us who you would like to put forward?
Yeah, I'm thinking that for the warts on the Mitchell deck, I think he's my second pick to bring on to the next round. I think Yasha's fallen down to last place in my head. I think that's the clear choice for me.
Yasha definitely gets the prize for individuality, but Brobrog was looking for cards that consistently beat Rodan.
Yeah, so you guys are happy with that? We'll head back over and I'll let you break the news, Brobrog. Hello, bakers.
Hello again, bakers.
They could also be breakers.
I have some bad news to break to one of you now. We have made our decision. I think the judges have decided. We liked Grog is kind of the judge's choice for the first pick here. I think that was the most successful anti-Rodan weapon.
The Star
Second
Baker.
choice had a Star Baker. That's I couldn't remember it. I was going to try, but yeah, absolutely the Star Baker this round. Our second choice is Mitchell. We thought the stun theme, the board denial, I thought was a good strategy, and we had a clear line to the enhanced powerful ratings was a good story of here's how we're going to finish the game against Rodan. We're going to threaten him with these plus 16 damage or whatever powerfuls. And unfortunately, it leaves Yasha in last place that we will be sending home for this round. I thought the deck had a lot of great ideas, a lot of great insights into how to attack the matchup, but I think it was a little bit too spread out, a little bit too kind of attacking on too many fronts at once, and didn't really tell a good story of how it was actually going to finish the games.
So unfortunately, Brandon, your Baker journey does end here, but I hope you had fun. Welcome to the final round, Bakers. So you are one step closer to these regional promos. You are one step closer to being invited back to the grand finale, where you'll have a chance to get the orange and black Worlds deck box. And the person you have to appease this time is Bubble Boy Kai, who is going to give you any random standard card and then a brief to build around. So I have given Kai a lot of power here. Let's see how he's chosen to wield it. So Kai, what is your standard pick?
Falling Heel Strike, also known as Unflip Kick. I want you to make a deck that revolves around it. I don't want it just to be a card that's cool and like a side piece. It needs to focus on the unflip strategy. It needs to focus on looping it and not just have it as a side piece, as a cool card. I just want it to. It's all about unflip kick.
Interesting. So, does it need to be competitive? It just needs to go, here's Falling Hail Strike, and I'm going to play it as many times as possible, the entire deck, themed around this amazing card from the Cowboy Bebop set and the Cowboy Bebop Challenger. And I'm really excited to see what you guys come up with. I'll let you get to your tables, and we'll start another 30-minute timer.
Individuality, please.
Okay. So, Kai, why did you pick Falling Hill Strike, and what are you looking for?
I'm looking for like the really stupid decks, which just revolve around just unflipping your stage, just unflip and keep reusing and looping a card, such as like loop blocks. Because we did a really funny thing, me and Liam, with a loot box and Younger Toguro, where we just played Younger Toguro and with a bunch of cards that build, and you just unflip the loot box and keep building, so you can get more damage. But as well, I want to see a deck that just can kind of like pick it back up from your discard pile, use it a bit more than the 4 times you can in a game, and it was probably one of my favorite cards in the game, and that's why I picked it.
So what kind of cards and what kind of characters should the Bakers be avoiding? What do you not want to see in the deck?
I don't want to see Ymir. I want to see something spicy. I want to see individuality. I want to see characters that synergize with it.
How likely do we think it is that Reese is just immediately pulled up Overhaul?
Overhaul, yep. I think that's very likely. And I'm down for Overhaul. I think Overhaul's a super cool character with Unflip Kick. You can build a card down and then unflip it with Overhaul, with Unflip Kick.
Yeah, I think I could say I really love this choice. This is a very fun build around. I think that I'm excited to see what the Bakers come up with. My immediate thought, and I almost hope this isn't just where everyone else went, was Hanji Four Eyes, because you can do Duplicitous Recollection to build Female Titan, summon your Unflip Kicks, and then also Hanji, just like Overhaul, gets to build whatever you want, and then Magic Dreamland will be able to unflip it. But I love the box thing you mentioned. That's really funny. I never thought of that. And I think that's the I hope we have more like funny things unflip stories that we're going to find with our bakers.
With the Hanji matchup as well, being able to reuse some of your foundations for like the greater goal after you flip them, you can unflip them back.
So, bro, is there any cards or characters you would be avoiding in this? Are there any cards that immediately your head goes, these just do not work?
Unflip Kick has been in a premier deck, and so that's probably a tempting trap maybe to say, here's a deck that had this card, therefore, and it was a very good deck, and therefore it must be a good choice for the bake-off, because I think that ultimately that deck really was not about Unflip Kick. It was about, maybe Wild Wild Pussycats and Hunter's Ally as much as Unflip Kick, and also that whole package was really secondary to the core of Ymir of Tetra Terror and Dueling the Lunge. I don't know if there's anything other than that, unless you're somehow building like an Unflip Kick deck that it just isn't about kicks. It isn't about flipping stuff. My dream, one of the things that I'm hopeful for that I think probably won't happen here, but Dreaming of the Reward is really funny with Unflip Kick. It's like not good, but it's like the funniest thing.
So, should we head off into the tables and see how the bakers are getting on? They've been going for 5 minutes now.
Yeah, let's go check it out.
Let's head over to table 1.
Hi-oh.
Is it overhaul?
Let's find out.
It's not Overhaul. It's not Overhaul.
Are you kidding me?
It's similar enough to Overhaul.
It's Spike.
It is Spike. It is Spike.
Bagpipe Cacophony.
I might award extra
What?
for turtles, bagpipes.
Oh.
I think it's actually really cool.
What on earth does Bagpipe Cacophony do?
Yes. Blitz for your top 3. Stack one of them, bottom deck the other. So you get to play, look at the top 3, and then you get a stack for any of your draw enhancers, right? It's cool. It's cool. So there's a good chance of stacking the Mr. Unflip Kick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As well,
all around that. So yeah, the whole concept was going to try and draw as much as we can with the deck, because obviously we want to see the roundhouse kick, right? And then we're going to play some damage pump to make the roundhouse kick that makes it self fast. We're going to try and make that do damage.
Is there a certain card that you want to keep flipping and unflipping?
We're not got to that bit yet. We're not got to that bit yet.
Makes sense. That makes sense.
So what drew you to Spike over, say, your beloved Overhaul?
Because I think in terms of like the UVS character card pool, Spike is my favorite canonically. Overhaul because I love him in the anime, right? And I get to play him. I think he's really cool. Spike is like the second to that after watching Bebop. I think he's awesome. And I really like his ability. When he first came out, I tried to play him with my Overhaul deck, and it kind of meshed well.
I think you're cooking, so I'll...
What's the name?
You'll have to wait.
Ooh, that's a very interesting name. Right, we'll head over to see Cohen, and we'll leave you to your cooking. Hello, Cohen.
I do not have a lot to show you. I just have some plans.
Ooh, we love plans.
No,
Oh, we're still at the character section.
Leisure way.
Oh,
Yeah. Basically, the original plan was to play a Toga and then realized that I can't play any of the new stuff, which is very sad. But I think I finally decided just to play Leisure way because it's funny and I can nuke the attack.
Can Pedri
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Can I actually?
Wait, does it specifically say not? Oh no, did I mess up?
Is it ranged?
He wants a range attack, I thought.
Oh, it's ranged. Oh.
We've just put him back to the draw.
Back to the
It's
drawing
fine. It's fine. We can go back to one of my older ideas. I might just build a water deck. I wanted to not play this, but I think it's going to be my best option. Keyleth water deck. I wanted to play life though, so I wanted to spam the foundation that lets me draw. Meeting Hanji. That was the original plan.
Are you gonna be running backups?
Probably not.
I was going to say, there's not really much to talk about because you kind of at the ingredient stage. You've not even started mixing.
Yeah, it's because this deck focused a bit less on the card that it's supposed to be focused on, but I have to cook up something to make it work.
Well, we were talking about, we were brainstorming some ideas, and I think having a character who's sort of on a flip kick themselves, I think that's a good angle on the story at least. It gives you a nice anchor of.
Yeah.
I don't want to influence the pool too much. But I think there's a fairly loud backup card to me for this challenge. That.
Right, well, we'll leave you to it, Cohen.
I think we'll leave you to it.
You've got just over 15 minutes left.
Yeah, I wanted to see female Titan attacks in this list. When I saw Spike go on to Bagpipe Cacophony, I saw the response after it. If you block with it, you get to pick up a backup. If he kind of finds out the secret about Arini, the new backup that just came out, which lets you commit, flip a foundation, unflip a foundation, that would award a lot more points. You can block with it, pick up Rini, play Rini, and then it's just you have a second unflip kick in your stage, and it's just going to be all out unflipping the same card.
And Rini gives you the Warden trait, I believe, which is all about
Yeah.
unflipping, which is a great trait to have.
Yeah, it seems like neither of them had a really big vision of like, oh, this is the card. I'm like, Unflip Kick is partnered with Meeting Hanji or partnered with this, part of that. It's kind of like, yeah, we're gonna Unflip Kick. We're gonna kind of explore. I hope they get a. In general, I like my decks to know what they're about, know what they're doing. Even just a 1/2 of like, yeah, I'm gonna Meeting Hanji, I'm gonna Unflip Kick. Wild Piscats, I'm gonna Unflip Kick, and like that's what my deck is here to do. I just hope we don't see a bunch of like 3-of mishmash soup decks that are like 80 cards of. I think it's a really good choice of ingredient, yeah, because it really has so many angles, right? You can say, well, what's the best flip card I can double dip on, right? What's the funniest thing I can cheat into my stage and then unflip as a surprise? But you can say, well, how do I do this the most number of times? And or like even almost a spike deck, the story is really not even how can I do this most number of times, but like how can I, like, I'm playing the character on Falling Heel Strike, the character whose face is on that card itself, and I'm building like a Cowboy Bebop Falling Heel Strike as part of the reference, like the symphony of references in this deck, almost. Like how can I draw slightly more of them or whatever.
How are we feeling about Cohen's time? Because like he had just over 60 minutes when we left, and he was still at the character selection stage.
If we didn't interrupt and he went halfway through it playing Nejire, that would be a disaster.
If he'd have shown up with a Nedry,
yeah. That'd be the classic Great British Bake Off experience where they show up to the presentation and their cake is falling over, it's still dripping wet, raw batter.
Kind of originally planning on going with Camouflage Counter, because I was going to kind of like set them up in trap to go for, like, if they go for Devil Gin, they're going to get lots of points off for individuality. If I did go with Camouflage Counter, the combo you can do with Kenny Ackerman, where you can say after it deals damage, you can stack it, and then you can Kenny to draw them both.
Such a like attractive character, and I've seen like almost Stone Zero with him. I don't know if he's just not quite fit for the format, or people aren't brewing with him, or what.
I think people aren't really brewing with him. I think he can pop off when he wants to pop off.
So, out of the two bakers, and from what we've seen, what are we thinking? What we've got here? Who do you think Cohen's gonna have settled on, and where do we think this spike build's gonna have ended up?
I'm nervous for both participants. Keyleth is such an open-ended character, and especially like Keyleth on a short time frame with a second choice from the.
I feel like they're putting the attention on Keyleth more than Unflip Kick, and I want all the attention to be on Unflip Kick. You've got to have enough flip costs as well.
I'm hopeful with Keyleth that maybe with Tears of Xandria, we have a bunch of cards that reward you for unflipping them specifically, right? You have the if you unflip me, draw a card type stuff, and that's certainly, it's a lot easier to put those cards in a Keyleth deck than in a character like Knot or something. I mean, setting that aside, even if you tutor the unflip kick, getting the most out of that activation above and beyond just being able to reuse the ability, having specifically unflip kick being the key to unlock that door. That's a cool angle anyway.
But you also need to be able to flip them down, which is one of the big issues. You need a lot of cards that cost them, because so you've got the ones that say when they unflip, like heal 1 or heal 2, or your rival commits 1, but they don't flip on face. So you have to have ways to get them face down first.
Yeah, this is not my brain on greater goal, man. Like I just assume everyone gets. I just assume that's like a 4 in every deck, even though it's. Yeah, I'm kind of waffling on how I feel about that. Of how many points to give for this is the face card, or kind of like is this like if he's like fitting into an archetype, right? Because we usually shouted out Ymir, right? Like Ymir is a deck that plays Falling Heel. Like I mean, there's a successful Ymir archetype that has Falling Heel Strike in it that it makes a lot out of it. Even puts kind of in one sense solves the problem that Falling Heel Strike solves the problem that Falling Heel Strike has. It only deals 4 damage. 4 damage isn't a real attack, I think in a reasonable sense. Ymir says, well, hey, how about, would you like 6 damage on your Falling Heel Strike? Make it 10 damage by itself. Plus X with an uncapped. Like that solves the problem. But now kind of it's just swimming in the archetype at that point.
Spike gives it as well extra stat on both sides as well. So similar to Ymir in that situation.
Yeah, it'll be. I'm waffling with where I'm even kind of, I guess my criteria for the judging.
20 seconds.
No.
Legitimately, this morning I was looking for a conversation that I thought was yesterday, and I eventually thought to search for the phrase "ready shot," and I immediately found it. We actually talked on Thursday. That's what I was looking for.
That is time Let's drag Reese, and Cohen's already here. Boop. Hello, Reese. Welcome to the final round judging. I hope you guys have used your time wisely. Seeing as it's already up, we'll see how Cohen has done with the Falling Hillstrike with his deck, lovingly called D.
Panic spam moment. Couldn't figure out anything to name it. So I built key left, kind of going with a mind of I'm gonna flip everything and then I can unflip my key stuff using stuff like using the Falling Hillstrike, which is kind of the main objective of this. Just like so, I played my zero deaths. Syndicate target, it's just a nice block. It's a 7-hander. Got the 6 check. Just the key card for me in this deck. Wait this, just because if I'm gonna have face downs, I might as well ready them, allowing me to block more or play more attacks based on what I'm gonna do. I then played Skeptical. Once again, if I'm gonna have stuff flipped, I might as well ready them. Gets me kind of the balance. That's how I'm gonna play my attacks or defend my attacks. I then played Pull from Danger. It's a 3-of. I don't think it's quite a 4-of, just because kind of it works quite well with Falling Hillstrike. I don't have anything else. I'm going to give you -3 damage, and I'm going to unflip it my turn. I'm going to play it again on the next turn. Overall, just a nice damage reduction for those ones I'm not committed to block, because that's 7-hander. I'm going to play Sound once again. Nice control 6. Allows me got a good block mod, so I can block attacks. And also when it is in, character readies it for free. Once per turn, I'll ready this. Just get to discard and draw if I don't find the attack or the block or the exact thing I'm looking for. Once per turn, I can draw and discard for free to an extent. I then played Woodland Distraction. Once again, control tech 6. Tenacious, after this card is unflipped, you have to commit 1. It's kind of there for the, oh wait, I can't do anything else. Oh, I'm out of cards now. How do I impact my opponent? Stuff like that. Or like if I know they're just going to check a block, you play the Falling Hillstrike, you say no. There's a lot of ways kind of where this isn't the key card of the deck, but it's nice to have as when they have one foundation that's causing me issues, how to get rid of it without stunning. Is kind of how I think. We then have Radiant Visage, just a key card in most of my decks at the moment. It's allowing me to play into these Chaos decks or these Rodan decks who are focused on their momentum, who need it to play the game. I go, nope, I'm going to take that. Can do it 2 times again. Once again, flip cost. Allows me to use the Falling Hillstrike, gives all these other attacks a bonus. I can use this also to get unflip them. You can use this to get damage. That's kind of theme of my attack. I have Broken Psyche. This and Casa defeats the female Titan are my 2 kind of main loop defense pieces, because what I can do on my turn is I can Broken Psyche. On your turn, so I'll Broken Psyche you, or I'll use this. And then on my turn, I'll play Falling Hillstrike, unflip it, and then next turn I'll do the same thing to you again. It's allowing me to have that repetitive defense over and over. This could have been a 3-of, but I think there's a lot of different kind of layers of defense here. With the current meta, I think Broken Psyche is slightly less good, especially with, and it's nice to have Jury, like an out of nowhere one. It's kind of how I feel with it. Everlight's Grace. It's a 2/4. Kind of just goes, okay, I've blocked all I can. I'll take this cheap attack, and I'll go ahead and find myself an attack or a block, so I can block again after not being able to block. Or if I'm being silly and I overswing, they then draw loads of attacks. I can block, take 1, and then retry and block again with the 3rd or 4th after using this. I'm playing Perchman Ambush once again. Super nice for blocking, especially when you're playing someone like Keyleth, who works around when I hit you, you're going to flip. So it's basically just you're going to flip 5. I'm then going to get +5 to my check throughout the game. And then I can also, once again, using other stuff, I can loop it with the Falling Hillstrike. So I have lots of options, kind of, based on what I need to do for the game. Saving the skill, once again, can help me flip mine, can help me get speed, or let me draw. There's a lot of kind of flip and unflip with this deck, and just let me use my abilities over and over. Once, even to help with that even more, I just realised this card is not playable because I'm not a student.
Yeah, and that's not playable.
We were going to ask about that problem.
Yeah.
I did not realise that. Okay, well, this is an awful card now. I guess for now. I am a condescending situation. I should have momentum. I am a 7-hander. I'm playing a lot of attacks, so I should be able to use it on this. Once again, just say no to an attack. They do something that's going to shut down my board. They do something that's going to really cause me issues. I just say no. It's kind of my one massive, you're not doing anything. You get 1 enhanced, do whatever you want to do. Then if we go on to the attack, we got a nice cheap one in Questioning Threat. This is kind of like the situation where I've played a few attacks. I'm either just short of damage, or if they are in deadlock, obviously the deadlock hunts are very, very nice, very good. Just like kind of that cheap attack to like the poking kind of turns where I need to get so I can make them flip 1. So I make you flip one, I get to ready one. It's kind of a cheap attack to do what I need to do with it. It can get 5 speed, it can be more, it can be less based on what I need to do. Just overall, I like it as kind of like a one and done or like an end of a string card. Then playing the whole point of this deck is Falling Hill Strike. Stun 1 can become stun 2 if I unflip Woodlands. Allows me to loop most of my important defensive pieces, or draw cards, or there's a lot of just kind of when I unflip stuff. So I can use that, unflip something, gain an effect, or get to do it again. Just repeatedly. The one thing I am lacking though in this deck, I would say, is the ability to loop it. I couldn't seem to find any on the symbols. Next up we have Jaw Jammer. I've got to do something with my commit flip foundations. They're committed and they're flipped. And I saw my kill turn. There's not much to do with them. Might as well make an 8 damage foe come your way. And also, once again, works really well into the after an attack deals damage, they flip one. Guarantees to flip. Lets me get an easy, nice 4 damage. Next, we got Might of Stone. This is kind of more like a late game thing. If you have 5 flipped, I'm getting 5 damage for a very cheap cost. Really, discarding a card when I'm a 7-hander, as long as I don't have too many attacks or I don't need to kill you. Overall, I've had a lot of fun with this card over the times. So it's big attack, someone once again committing that board. Then we got full range against. First announce kind of mentioned, unflip 2. Lets me do what I'm doing this whole game, just even better. Then also has the things like when I flip something, I get more speed. So this can get very fast, very quickly. Kind of just a nice way of doing it. And then potentially the kill shot, one card I've always loved in multiple decks. It's Attack Titan's Wide Swinging Blow. I can flip one and I'll get +1 for all the Freddy face downs. So kind of a nice opening to the string. Get 6 or 7 damage on it, based on how many I flipped or how many I built. I just really like this card personally for my playing. And then our 2 actions, I most likely will always have 3 face downs. They're almost always gonna have 3 face downs. Just a nice kind of defensive and offensive card. We also got Jury. Lets me just to go more kind of reset, saying no, you can't do this. Then also further getting to commit one of their foundations, so they can't play as many attacks onto me. And I did decide to go with one back up in the end and played Sean Gilmore to allow me to play these bigger attacks or defensive moves.
That makes a lot of sense. You put a real thought into each of the synergies of the deck and how they interact with Falling Hill Strike. Any initial thoughts or questions from the judges?
A lot of the foundations, there's 4 I can taste downs, and there's kind of 3 of most of the others. There's like some 2 ofs. Is there one that you think especially is the kind of the intention of the deck to play with Falling Hill Strikes, to either unflip it or to get the most out of unflipping it, or
I think kind of like. What did you say?
Is there a main focus on what you...
Okay. Oh, I see. I kind of think when I first was going with this deck, the main 2 focuses were this Broken Psyche that's like, it's a nice flip cost. As long as I can get the momentum, I can just loop this over and over. I think when I first think of it, the main focus of this will always be this Mikasa. Because I can half block, take no damage, kind of just goes, yep, I'm going to do this again and again and again. Every turn I can draw this feels like. But then also I think my favorite thing is, like, while yes, these also work, in the games where I don't have these, I have -3 damage twice. Or I get to, it's also can be used to draw a card if I need the extra card for turn. The reason I built this deck was not only does it use Feeling Strike, it uses it in one way, but can also pivot and turn it really easily into a offensive move as well as a defensive kind of card.
Is there any reasoning why you're not running Weapon Collapse?
I was thinking about it, and I don't want to build. When I was building this, I don't want to build into kind of my deck. Like in my mind, I was thinking maybe good for the minus damage, but I didn't want to play it. Also, I don't know if it has water. Well, I think it does actually.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking I had it in originally, and I took it out later on. So yeah, of course it had water. I did like it, but then also I thought I don't want to be building random cards because if there are attacks and stuff like that, then my unflips become useless to it. And I don't know, I just didn't like it as a card. I much preferred looping these, picking up more block cards, getting more to my checks. That's kind of my main thing, and just pumping speed and getting draw power. That's how I liked it.
As well.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think 7 hand sizes kind of want to be blocking first and kind of doing damage reduction second.
Is there for say Call from Danger and Everlight's Grace? For those, since you're a 7-hander, you don't really want to be taking damage. So is there any reasoning why you decided to go for that over, say, speed reduction or more draw power?
My thoughts when this deck was originally going through was if I want to play a bit more aggressive potentially with this deck, I can play a few attacks and then build out. And also in that 1 or 2 situations where, like, let's say I'm holding 2-3 cards and somehow they've drawn enough. And also at the moment, I say the meta's moving towards 4-5, like, other than the big attack decks, which you've got the Jury for and the Broken Psyche for, you have these string decks who are playing 4, 5, 6 attacks a turn, and I just can't hold that many blocks. So I like the option of just going, I'm going to minus 3 damage, take 3 or 4 damage, which isn't into the wild, and then while I'm taking that damage, I get to draw a card.
Why did you decide to go for Sean Gilmore over Reenie?
I just liked kind of, like we were talking about earlier with the defensiveness, I liked, whenever I played him, he's always been very helpful with the +2 kind of, if I need to squeeze out this 5 diff, or like if I need to squeeze out this towards the end of my string without overcommitting, if I need to play one of these, it allows me to get that either extra attack or like these checks that are very difficult, these high-speed attacks. If I've only got 4 or 5 built, I'm going to very much struggle. I wasn't supposed to be playing any backups, but in my kind of mind, he's not like, it's like building a foundation to an extent, a push. Like, he's more foundation.
Yeah, I think of it that way too. Yeah. Plumbed the depths of this one pretty good, I think, at this point.
So you're showing us a Spike Bounty Hunter Waterless? Nope, you're showing us our own screen, but...
Turtle Parkour. Oh,
That's a good title. I like it.
yeah.
Yeah, right. So the title will make sense in a second. So obviously the turtle part we will see, but the parkour, the whole theme is about falling heel strike, right? If you're doing parkour, you're gonna have to fall from height, right? And it's Spike. He flips things. You know, you do flips when you're parkouring. It's crazy.
All right,
Yes.
tell me about this.
Right. So backups. We have Rini. She's like the best backup of the whole flip thing, right?
Oh
You
my
get a
God.
choice flip one, flip
Listen,
whatever.
it's funny.
You got your two.
It's funny because I was talking to Broberg and Brett about how I hope to see Reenie in some of these decks because it
Yeah, it's the whole point, right?
yeah, it supports the fact of flip and unflipping.
Oh, I'm going to preface this.
Yeah.
This whole deck, you told me to build this around Falling Heel Strike. It is built around Falling Heel Strike. I've done as much as I can.
Well, we'll let you get on with the discussion, and we'll ask the questions and give opinions at the end.
Right, so obviously Rini, it's choice flip, unflip. It's kind of just standard. It's what you expect, right? Juries, it just says draw a card. You know, you've got 29 health, you can tank a hit or two. It's nice, it's cool. Also, the fact it commits foundation for its response, that's pretty awesome because you get to unflip or commit whatever you want to do with it. It's pretty junky. Well, the Spaceland, I love this card. I think this card's awesome. The fact it says first hand, if we've got 10 or more together, which is a good chance you will do, make it unblockable. Your Falling Heel Strike might only do 4 damage, but it'll be a good 4 damage. Also, the fact you can remove it to ready 3 face downs means, yeah, it's better to block with, all that kind of jazz. Assets, we've got 2. So, Gathering Energy, right? This just kind of makes sense to me because you want to try compress the deck so much where you're seeing, it's not great, but you can just play some damage reduction. It doesn't matter if it's unblocked or half blocked, so you can still take, like, say, 2 damage from a half block attack and then remove top card. It's just nice. It's also got 1 mid block, that's pretty cute. Titan Stone, that's really cool, I think, because you can heel strike, flip whatever you want, and then commit it for the 2 damage. It's just kind of nice. It just maximizes your utility. 2 low block as well, also deflect free. The deflect kind of pairs them with Gathering Energy and the Juries, I suppose, because it's nice because you can make it a 4 when you make it a 1, draw 1 still. Nice, awesome. Attacks. This is where I think we kind of cooked. So Battle Aura. We get to flip things, we get to draw cards. Awesome. It makes itself big. Mint. Agile Drop. So it only gives itself 1/1, but then it'll be plus whatever with a spike, right? But the fact it says, if you have a heel strike in card pool, discard 2, add another copy back. That's the closest I could find to looping this. It's not great. You go neg on it, but it's awesome. Double Trouble. It's nice. You get a cycle through deck, right? Discard a draw, Shroud. It's nice. Stun 1 as well. Comes up. Echo. Help do damage. 4 heel strike because it's the main card of the deck. Nice one. Turtle. This card right here. It's an MVP. This card's crazy. Bagpipe Cacophony. It's an angry looking turtle. It's a 0 high block, that's nice. It's a 5/5. It's nice even stats, which gets 1/1 per 3 face sounds from Spike. It's cool. Blitz Rio top 3. stack 1, bottom deck with 2. You make it so you can see Heal Strike as much as you can. Also, if you block with it, you're going to add back Rooney from discard. That's nice.
Yeah, so the idea is that you'll Bangkok Cacophony, leave a Heal Strike on top. Like, look at 3 more cards, put a Heal Strike on top, and then draw it with Spike.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how
Because
Ollie would have.
that was Spike. Spike flips it to make it draw a card if it hits, and Spike gives it the stats to make it trigger.
I don't know how much Ollie would appreciate being called an angry turtle, though.
Nah, he's an angry turtle. Look at him.
He's not.
I
He's
think
so
it
chill.
It might be like a self-fulfilling prophecy that if you call him an angry turtle, he'll become angry, and he is a turtle.
Fallen Angels, it's just kind of no-brainer on the deck, right? Unflip some more cards to do some more enhancers, maximize your profits. Foundations, we really focused on the whole Heal Strike here. Syndicate Target, it's a nice block, it's easy to build, it's a 6 check. Awesome source. Also, the lose 1 Vitality comes up. Woodland Distraction, it's a 6 check, it's a low block, it's a 1 dip. After you unflip it, they commit 1. We get to stun them out, hell yeah. Beta Shift, it's life. It just says we both draw a card, we can unflip it and then we can make us draw more cards, deck them out, you draw more cards, you get to see more attacks. Awesome. Desperate Plea, no brainer. It's a good life card. You get to build them where you have a block with. Mint. Brush Attacker, again, it's a no brainer. It says draw cards. Awesome. You're playing like off zones, right? So there's a good chance you're hitting. Skeptical, it re-readies itself. Go unflip it, keep doing it. That's mint. Preferred for Ambush, if you need to block, this is a cheetah block. It's crazy. It's my favorite Byaku card. Make this +5 to your check. Flip that stuff, mint. Shapechanger skill. If you Heal Strike this, you replace the Heal Strike. You go +1. Also, flip any dead things for a speed. That's nice. Battle Priest. You get to commit this. If you gain health, you give it a speed and 2 damage. Commit this to give the stats. Spike, flip it. To if it hits, draw 1. Spike, give the stats again. And then Heal Strike, unflip this. So you get to do it again next turn. Also deflect 2 again, comes up. Finally Awake, probably one of my favourite Spike cards, because it just always looks awesome. It's a cheap block, it's nice. You get to commit any face downs to give stats. It's just nice. Sing for Me, one of my other favourite cards. This is where the gain health comes up, because you're drawing cards, you're gaining health. So because you're actually gaining health, because you've lost health with Syndicate Target, you get to gain it to then trigger the Battle Priest online. Nice. Meeting Hand, this says draw 2 cards. We love filtering through the deck. We get to loop this because it says flip. Also, being a 2-mid block means you get to build it off Desperately quite easily. And then leaving the Bebop because you just get to mill your deck until you hit an attack. Hopefully, it's a Heal Strike, right? If not, you've still just got an attack. Awesome. Yeah. Flip one of theirs, flip one of yours, draw a card. It's a cheap block, nice. If they stun you, build a card, and then Omni block. Pretty self-explanatory.
Makes sense.
Spike.
Yeah, I'm not sure I have a deck. I think a lot of the deck speaks for itself. It's Spike. It falls. It's Heal Strike's fall.
If you've got no questions for Reese, we'll head over to the judges' table and we'll deliberate for who is going to walk away the winner.
What we thinking, Broberg?
Yeah, Kai, what do you think? It's how are the falling Heal Strike decks?
So I'm ashamed that both of them missed out weapon clash, and I'm sad. There's no speed builds.
Actually, yeah, that's a startling miss from Spike because he really wants to like get the threshold of enough face downs in his stage.
But Spike did find the way to loop, which, well, as they're both on water, they both had access to.
Yeah, as well the agile drop. Like, that was a super cool idea and addition to be able to just pick back up your unflip kicks. What I really liked as well.
I almost expected him to pitch it as, hey, this is also a 2 high for 4. It's shaped the same as falling Heal Strike. Yeah, you were saying.
I really like the fact that he was running Rainy as well. And like there was a couple cards in there that just synergized with Rainy, like Bagpipe, Cacophony. You can just easily, it's a +0, it's +0 high block. You can block with it, pick up Rainy, and then you can potentially just build it straight down with Desperate Plea. Or you can do something even better. And Meeting Hange was in the list, meaning you can kind of discard it to draw 3 as well, which was a good addition. And you can then unflip it with unflip kick.
Yeah, I like that Spike the spike deck included some cards that were really like compelling to unflip. I think that the Radiant Massage, like it, I do like that card. I do appreciate that card, but it's a purely reactive piece. And it's a one diff. It's not that big a deal ultimately. And I thought that the keyless deck didn't really have a good story of, well, why unflip kick, except that we're supposed to play unflip kick, or maybe that it wasn't getting enough like compelling advantages from what it was doing with it. I think the spike deck, and also at the same time, like the spike gives plus X damage, which we were kind of saying like it's just 4 damage, it's not enough. But if it's like 7 damage, then that's actually a real card.
The problem with the healer deck was their main game plan was to unflip Broken Psyche, but they only have it as a 2-of, and as well, Broken Psyche is kind of a dead card if you don't have a momentum.
Yeah, the keyless deck really seemed to be kind of imagining an incredibly particular kind of game where it's like throwing attacks back and forth and the opponent just isn't blocking and also isn't really counterattacking. And then it was just kind of getting marginal advantages even in that game.
They didn't find a way to loop it as well, but what I really liked about the keyless deck, that they were kind of like running the Attack Titans wide swinging. I really like that. I think the list would have put it up to top notch if they were running Weapon Clash, and that would have really boosted the list up for both of them.
Together. Yeah.
So, in terms of initial thoughts as to who's you going to win, have you got any ideas, or have you got more you want to talk about the decks?
I think I might just go Spike, because Spike was focusing more on the Falling Heel Strike game plan and more of unflipping, more better cards to unflip.
Yeah, I think for me, I think I'm also feeling like a Spike vote. I think as a Falling Heel Strike deck, I think it tells a better story. It's not just in not for part of that too is that it's a Spike deck, right? And that's worth some points in kind of flavor country, but also just in terms of making the most of the card, getting a lot of incremental value from it, and kind of solving the problems of Falling Heel Strike. It's really kind of hitting on all those notes, I think, out of the keyless deck. All right, so let's go.
Yeah.
Give the players the news, I guess.
All right, well, I'll hand over to you when we get there, Kai, and you can drop the news. Hello, Bakers. We are back. The judges had a quick talk. Both decks were very well made. They both had their own charms, but only one kind of hit all the criteria that Kai asked for. So I will hand over to Kai with his reasoning and with the final results.
The deck we decided to go for is Spike, because Reese's list kind of hit more of the criterias that I asked for, being able to loop and find unflip kick more easily. It also was able to focus more on the game plan, whereas I think the keyless list was lacking a bit on the side of focusing more on it, and there was stuff like keyless and some other stuff that kind of overshadowed what Falling Heel Strike was doing. But I think what I really liked about the keyless list is that you were running some like more open finishes as well, like Attack Titans Wide Swinging Blow. But I think we just went for Spike because it focused more on unflip kick and went more into the strategy to find it.
I did give like points for I think Spike, but I thought that Spike's cards, but only a small number of points. And I thought that one thing Spike provided that I thought was maybe a little absent from the keyless deck was solving Falling Heel Strike's problems. Right, Spike gets add some damage to the Heel Strike, make it a more relevant card, where the keyless was kind of just saying, yeah, it'll be 4 damage, and maybe if I play against a Grog, it'll take 30 or 17 of these to win the game, and that was just gonna be how it was.
Big congratulations to Reese. I'll get in touch with Sean and we'll get you into those amazing regionals promos. A big shout out to Sean and Patriot Game for providing the pricing to this Bake Off. And I'll try and get one more done, and then we'll invite you back, Reese, for the grand finale where you can try and get a hold of one of these black and orange deck boxes. A big thank
Hell
you
yeah.
to Kai for filling in literally last minute. And a big shout out to Broberg for filling in not so last minute. I appreciate everyone who has spent their time doing this for me. It's been a lot of fun. It's been great having you all here. And I'll hand over now to Broberg, who can do a plug to find out where we can find him for his own content.
I was ready to interrupt you. Sorry to play me off. Yeah, please check out the Four Checks Cast over on Twitch every Thursday night, and also on YouTube. Four Checks Cast. It's myself, Tim Keefe, Will Godby, and Justin Birch, aka Zodiac, the former heel of the entire Universus community. We talk every week. We just kind of yap about Universus. It's a bunch of top caliber players, and I really enjoy the conversations we have. And I think you would too. So yeah, check us out. And yeah, again, we're live on Twitch, and you can also catch the VODs on YouTube whenever Justin uploads them. And also, I have my own YouTube channel where I occasionally will post videos kind of talking through the rules and decks I've built. Although I have terrible discipline in terms of actually uploading content. It's Brober Universus. I'm quite. If you want to know how Badgie works, that was the I think maybe most technical video I've uploaded up there. Just walk through the way the block step works and some curious interactions there. So you can check that out too.
That's very cool. And if you want to see some more of Reese, the winner for this, and possibly can bring it up the next time he's in a recording, you can go check out the Dobbers and the Dobbercast, who have literally, while we were filming this, uploaded a video talking about the upcoming Street Fighter set and how the mechanics of the game could be translated into cards through things like Drive. So go check that out. Scott is a massive Street Fighter fan, and he's done a lot of work into getting that before he headed off for his holiday. Again, I'll thank you all for being here. I'll hopefully see Broberg in Albuquerque as long as everything goes well. And for the rest of you, have a great night. Best luck in your Star Championships coming up, and I'll see you at game night. Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.